So, Kyrie Irving got himself into some controversy yet again. On February 24th, 2021, he posted a picture on Instagram of Kobe Bryant as the NBA logo. Now, of course, as with everything that Kyrie says or does that doesn't have to do with basketball, it was met with some controversy. And personally, I really get why this is so controversial because it makes so much sense, but at the same time, it makes zero sense at all. Almost with like everything that this dude does. And so, what's up, y'all? I'm KidComma11, and let's go ahead and talk about this little fiasco real quick. So Kyrie Irving later on, about 2 days later, expounded upon his Instagram caption in a post-game conference. Now, if you look at the comments, or basically of any of the comments that are revolving around any of this type of issue, Kyrie's reasoning is something that people don't really agree with. And I'm personally also of that party. Now, we should cut him some slack here because he's of course going to be biased since Kobe Bryant was his mentor and was a dear friend of his. I mean, a lot of us loved what Kobe did, but imagine if like you knew him personally. Wouldn't that make it like all the more motivation to want him to be in something like that, to want him to be remembered like that? That's my defense for Kyrie. But after that, it pretty much stops. He says something along the lines of he inspired an entire generation, and then he went on to talk about it like, I honestly don't know what he was talking about. But I do believe in the premises of the point that he's trying to make.
This is excellence. Kobe Bryant, logo. Yes, needs to happen. I don't care what anyone says. Black Kings built the league.
So yeah, I do think that there are some merits to Kobe Bryant becoming the NBA logo. For starters, he's, of course, Kobe Bryant. And when I say Kobe Bryant, I don't mean the guy who won 5 rings. I don't mean the guy who played with the Lakers 20 years. I don't mean the guy who played with Shaquille O'Neal and Pau Gasol. I don't mean any of that. I mean Kobe Bryant, the basketball savant. I mean Kobe Bryant, the workout menace. Kobe Bryant, the man who would wake up at 3 a.m. after games or whatever he would do. The crazy stories that you've all heard. This is Kobe Bryant we're talking about. The one man that you think about of eating, breathing, sleeping, absorbing basketball, putting more time and effort into a craft than most anyone else does in the entire world. It's one of the first things you think about when you think of Kobe Bryant, and it's one of the first things you think about when you think of hard-working NBA player, almost even more than Jordan, and definitely far more than LeBron, let's be honest. And of course, as an extension of that, him and his Mamba mentality have gone worldwide to the point where if you think of Kobe Bryant, you think of the Mamba mentality, you think of what he's inspired. There's people in China that completely adore him. There are people in Russia, in Europe, in South America, in Africa, so many different countries in the world that know Kobe Bryant and that he worked very, very hard at the game of basketball. It would make sense for a player like that with such a reputation towards the game to be modeled as the logo, to represent the hard work and work ethic that the National Basketball Association strives itself on. And another reason, which I didn't talk about earlier about disagreeing with Kyrie, I don't know if I completely agree with him on this, but at the same time, it is still an issue. Kyrie Irving's statement that the
Black Kings built the league
isn't necessarily wrong. The NBA is 75% African American. All of the great legends of history, sans Larry Bird, were African American. So by extension of Kyrie's logic, and something that I think has a little bit of merits, it's something to be looked at because of the representation problem in the NBA. While over 75% of the NBA players are black, over 85% of the head coaches are white. Over something like 80% of the GMs are also white, and every single owner in the NBA, except for Michael Jordan, is not black. What Kyrie is asking for is for there to be some sort of representation, and you can't lie, there's some merit for more representation in the league if they're not going to do it by hiring more black coaches. Another thing is that Jerry West, as we've all known notoriously for years, doesn't actually want to be the NBA logo. Look at this little TMZ clip, right?
Happy birthday, Mr. West.
They got this little annoying TMZ reporter. Jerry is literally just outside of enjoying his birthday, right? He's coming out of that place. He's having a good time. Then look what happens when this dude mentions the logo.
You're the logo. Did the NBA send you a birthday present?
But I digress. And as we all know, if it's not going to be Kobe Bryant, it would definitely be Michael Jordan. But I think we can all agree that MJ would be perfectly fine with Kobe Bryant being the NBA logo. And finally, it would be something to further memorialize him after, such a sudden tragedy that cut short the legacy that he was going to leave on this earth. As for me, those 4 reasons make sense as to why Kobe would be the next NBA logo. But then, we got the others. So number 1 as to why this actually makes absolutely no sense is that Kobe Bryant simply wasn't impactful enough to the game. I'm not denying his influence on the world, but at the same time, the NBA has been here since 1946. Kobe entered the league in 1997. That's a whole 50 years that you're not accounting for, of all the greats, of all the legends that came before Kobe Bryant to get him to the point where he was today. Without a Bill Russell, Kobe Bryant would not be where he is today. Without Wilt Chamberlain, he would not be where he is today. Without even George Mikan, Kobe Bryant would probably not be in our heads. So going off Kyrie's point where you'd want more black representation, you'd want one of the other black pioneers of the game of basketball to be the logo. Think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with his signature skyhook. Think Bill Russell with a rebounder or outlet pass or something like that. Those two are far more deserving of the logo because of what they meant to the game of basketball, if we're going off of that point. But also the main point as to why this would make zero sense, just too expensive, man. Just imagine, of all the NBA affiliated merchandise that you own, and multiply that by like millions. Then imagine having to scrapping all that and then design a new logo, approve the new logo, put that every single place where you could imagine that an NBA logo could be, from the little stitches in the back of the shirts to the billboards outside of the NBA cities. Then even considering the international implications of all that, it's just so much. So much, and it doesn't make any sense because the NBA logo is perfect the way it is. It serves its purpose so perfectly, so elegantly, so effortlessly, you don't even have to think about it. The NBA logo is what the NBA is. You don't necessarily think of Jerry West. Before the story was uncovered, before you watched it on YouTube or a documentary or something, you just knew it as a random silhouette. You just knew it as a player playing basketball. It didn't matter who that player was. It didn't matter if they were 6'8", 250 pounds. It didn't matter if they're the best scorer in league history. What mattered is that they were a basketball player. They epitomized the game with its rigid stature, with its static motion almost. You can feel almost as if the player is in motion while he's just there, stuck. It's just a picture. The NBA represents basketball, and the logo represents both of those things simultaneously and perfectly, and so inconspicuously that you don't even have to give it a second thought. That's what a logo is supposed to do. And personalizing it to change to someone who's more recognizable, well, that would just completely defeat the purpose. Because imagine, like in the next few years, like Doc Rivers said recently, imagine 10, 20 years in the future after LeBron or Steph retires, why would there be another conversation of them having the logo? Then all of a sudden the logo is shifting from one player to the other. Within the next 100 years, say that there are 3 to 5 changes. That's not what a logo is supposed to be. It's supposed to be timeless. It's supposed to be representative of a league, of an organization, of an association. Changing it now based off of a recent incident, no matter how tragic it was, is too brash. While the main reasons are out of the way, there's another reason as to why Kobe Bryant is completely disqualified from being the entire NBA logo: his image. To almost all of us in this NBA fandom, we all celebrate and know Kobe Bryant as this dogged leader, this man that would never stop to get what he needed, to never stop trying to get to what he wanted. To people outside the NBA fandom, they think of his case. At the end of the day, Kobe Bryant was convicted for some serious assaults, to the point where even after a few days after the crash, people were writing all sorts of articles about it. It was its whole separate movement that had spiraled out of this huge tragedy and became completely something else. And the NBA, I can promise you, would not want to open that can of worms yet again by making him a logo. And finally, it really wouldn't matter that much. Like, at the end of the day, it's literally just a little silhouette. Seeing Kobe Bryant as the NBA logo really wouldn't say, hey, man, that's Kobe right there. I'm so happy he's right there. Like, okay, maybe like the first, let's say 15 to 30 times, maybe 100 times for some. But after that, it would just be looking like the logo again. As crazy and insane a winner that Jerry West was, most people don't know him for the stuff that he did on the basketball court. They just see him for the picture. I don't believe that that's an appropriate way to commemorate Kobe's legacy, and I don't think the NBA thinks so either. Besides, they got all sorts of legal reasons as to not. They don't want us to go through all the pain, and they got bills to pay. But still, I believe that something should be done with Kobe's image in some way with the NBA, and I think the perfect way to do it, I got a little plan. If you're still here watching, I think I got a perfect plan. Even if Kobe Bryant can't be the logo for every single piece of the NBA, that doesn't mean that there can't be a Kobe Bryant logo. Let's say, for example, that the NBA goes ahead and you know, about those regular season tournaments that they've been talking about that no one really vibes with. It's sort of just like a wonky feel, like they're trying to force it in there. Well, let's say that in the near future, 2 to 3 years from now, they're actually able to implement it. Wouldn't it be cool for that particular section of games, whatever that tournament might be, you completely change the dynamic of it. You make it to where it's the Kobe Bryant Cup, something like that, where you compete for some sort of prize. And during that time, you have a Kobe Bryant logo. That's like a special occasion. It's sort of like the Christmas edition jerseys of way back when. I wish they brought those back. It'd be sort of intriguing to see the NBA or Nike or whoever is in charge of that stuff to try and brand Kobe Bryant into some sort of logo of some sorts regarding to the NBA, and not only just Kobe, but maybe perhaps for Kareem even, or for MJ, for Bill Russell, for Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. It would be sort of intriguing to see the NBA sort of play with that in the future and see what comes out of that. Just food for thought as we're talking about this weighty topic, even if it is just a picture at the end of the day. I feel as if the NBA has a lot more to do in regards to commemorating Kobe Bryant's legacy. But definitely, having Kobe Bryant represent the entire league is definitely not the way to go. While Kyrie's intentions were definitely on the right side, the execution was a little off. But yeah, with all that being said, if you're still here at the end of the video, I thank you for that. Make sure you like the video because I'm guessing that you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I mean, sure. I guess you can dislike it too. I'm cool with that. Go ahead and do so. But yeah, like I said again, I am KipKama11 and I'll see you guys in the next one.